And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. We're nearly there. We're 375,000. So help. Hit subscribe, watch, comment. Please keep the comments coming and share with family and friends because the crazy, it doesn't stop. Meanwhile, it wouldn't be the Trump administration without some form of corruption or the latest whistleblower, this time coming from FEMA. 4 FEMA officials, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 FEMA officials told CNN that a new rule states that DHS Secretary puppy killer Kristi Noem herself has literally required people to sign off on every contract or grant over $100,000. So imagine what we're talking about here. $100,000 regarding any disaster? How fast do you think that money is going to go? And this meant that Noem literally didn't authorize urban search and rescue teams in Texas until Monday. And that's 72 hours after the flooding began. This morning on Fox and Friends, Kristi Noem responded to CNN's report. Play the clip.
At that point, CNN is basically got a report accusing you of slowing the process. Yeah. Would you like to respond to that?
Well, there you go. Fake news. CNN, again, is absolutely trash what they are doing by saying that, because our Coast Guard, our Border Patrol, BORTAC teams were there immediately. Every single thing I was on, they asked for, we were there. The governor and the emergency management director, Nim Kidd, are fantastic. And nobody there has said anything about that they didn't get everything that they wanted immediately or that they needed. And I'm proud of the work that we've done to support that. But, you know, we've got flooding going on in New Mexico as well, right. North Carolina. So I've been visiting with their leadership team and spent quite a bit of time on the phone yesterday with the New Mexico governor, getting them resources as well. And that's what we do. And, you know, the fact that CNN is continuing to be political and push out fake information and false and information and lies is not shocking, but it's a disservice to the country. It's a real disservice to the country because people start to mistrust anything that comes out then over the news. And then, well, that's true. Yeah, but they just don't trust anybody anymore, and that's not the kind of country.
Certainly, we are praying for.
Yeah, you know who it was that actually made those statements? Search and rescue teams that were sent away. Meanwhile, let me show you what CNN had said yesterday, which truthfully doesn't seem fake to me. Play the clip.
So according to 4 officials inside FEMA, that federal response may not have been as fast as it might have been. They say that a new rule that any expenditure over $100,000 needed sign-off from Secretary Noem slowed the federal response. These sources tell us that FEMA's deployment of urban search and rescue teams, which are typically deployed in anticipation they might be needed, instead was delayed until Monday, 3 days after the flood. Now, a source also tells us that a request Texas made for FEMA aerial imagery to aid in the search was also delayed, waiting for Secretary Noem's approval. Now, additionally, multiple FEMA officials say that they were taken aback by the agency's relatively limited response in the immediate aftermath of the disaster. CNN has reached out to FEMA for comment. So far, no reply from the agency. However, a DHS spokeswoman more generally told CNN that FEMA is, in her words, quote, shifting from bloated DC-centric dead weight to a lean deployable disaster force that empowers state actors to provide relief for their citizens.
Great response. Meanwhile, also on Fox this morning, Noem spoke about literally how she shouldn't make decisions for local communities because every state is different. Play the clip.
We certainly, as a federal government, will give them recommendations and support on what they could do, what other cities do. That's our role. And specifically with FEMA is to always come in when there is a situation like this, that we don't make the decisions for the local communities. We shouldn't make the decisions for the states because every state is different. Every town is different. What they need for sirens or sound alerts might be different based on their topography, on how the city is laid out. So we will give them recommendations and advice, but being there to allow the state to run the emergency response, but we come in and support it, is incredibly important.
But that's not the purpose of FEMA. I mean, it's clearly she doesn't even know what FEMA's about. She also then went and spoke at a FEMA Review Council public meeting and continued to say that states should be independent. Play that clip.
State and local leaders know that their communities, they know what they need better than the government ever could. They know their exact needs and they know how best to prepare. People forget that the states are older than the Constitution and that they created the Constitution, that federalism matters and states' rights need to be respected. We need to focus more on helping, not hindering, and state and local authorities need to be empowered. We don't take charge of them. We give them the opportunity to lead the way. Now,
right, except FEMA, the acronym, stands for Federal Emergency. And the states will acknowledge that they are not capable of handling it because, I don't know, there's many different reasons. One, they don't have the resources for it, like the federal government does. And maybe, I don't know, after a once-in-a-lifetime or once-in-a-100-year type storm, they just don't have the manpower or, again, the resources to handle, which is why the federal government has the agency FEMA. Meanwhile, North Carolina was struck by strong storms last fall, and Governor Josh Stein, he came out and he spoke about how it does not make sense for states to be independent. He would know. He lived through it. Play the clip.
You know, the Trump administration wants to retool FEMA, maybe get rid of it, maybe put some of this responsibility back on the states. Does that work? Can the state handle that?
It depends on the scale of the storm. And North Carolina is a bigger state than most, so we have a pretty sophisticated emergency response team. But here's the thing, we don't get a huge storm every year. The country does. It doesn't make sense for each state to have a fully staffed emergency response team because they may not have a storm for 5 years or 10 years, but we know the country will. So let's have that expertise in the federal government. And also the resources, we as a state cannot bear the cost of recovery, $60 billion. Only the federal government can do that. We need more help. I have an $11.5 billion request before Congress and the administration that I eagerly hope that they fund soon.
Maybe Kristi Noem should engage in a conversation with Stein, but here's the problem. There is no conversation taking place between Republicans and Democrats. And look how far apart we are as a country when Republicans and Democrats can't even agree on FEMA. Because you don't know if it's going to be a blue state or a red state. You don't know if a district is going to be a red district or a blue state. But does it really even matter? The answer is no. They can't even get together when you have national tragedies. This is not a Texas tragedy. This is an American tragedy. And speaking of American tragedies, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, well, he was in Greece when the flooding occurred over the weekend. Now, just to remind all of you, he was in Cancun in 2021 when a different storm hit Texas. I mean, he's like a storm indicator. As soon as you know Texas Ted is off running to a foreign country, you know that there's a major storm coming. Well, Kellyanne Conway, of course, runs to Fox to try to defend Cruz's vacation. Play the clip.
I don't understand the lack of compassion, the heartlessness, the lack of any kind of dignity, love, thoughts, prayers, a dollar, lend a hand, donate something, contribute, show up and help from your colleagues on the other side of the aisle. Yes, you're on vacation with your family. Good for you, because you worked tirelessly for weeks, if not months, on that big, beautiful bill. And not a single one of the same Democrats now attacking you and President Trump dared vote for that bill that would help. And so the lies have to stop, but the sheer lack of compassion and heartlessness is something I just cannot abide, acknowledge, and accept.
She's so good. That's why I actually ended up bringing her in. It's amazing. She can turn around and blame this on Democrats. She could blame it on anyone. Wow. In a time when everyone, and I mean everyone, is trying to get some answers, the Kerrville mayor patronized the press. Couldn't believe it. Play the clip.
I'm married to a retired first grade teacher. And I learned a little bit about classroom management from her. If you yell questions at us, we're probably going to pick someone else to answer, okay? So if you feel the need to yell your questions, I will feel the need to not answer your question. In first grade, they raised their hands. That might be a good start. Yesterday was a disaster, and I was embarrassed. Our town was embarrassed. Your viewers were embarrassed. And I don't want that to happen again.
This guy needs to be thrown out. He's an asshole. Now, as I said earlier, search and rescue efforts weren't approved by Noem until Monday. Again, 72 hours after flooding began. On Sunday, though, got to show you what she was involved with. Posted on Instagram, asking everybody which painting they believe that should be her official portrait as former North Dakota governor. Let me show you the portraits, because this is important stuff. Should it be portrait 1, that's brown cowboy jacket Kristi Noem? Should it be the middle, white, I don't know, cowboy Kristi Noem? Or should it be the denim blue with the, I don't know, fake fur or shearling fur on the right? I mean, I'm very curious which one you think, as the country is reeling in this tragedy with more than 100 people deceased, children washed away from their camp bunks, more than 160 people plus still missing. But it's really important because at this juncture, you got to know which photo, which painting should grace the North Dakota governor's office. I have no idea what these people are thinking, but that's okay, Kellyanne Conway. It's all the Democrats' fault. Finally, I want to end on a clip of Kristi speaking to the FEMA Review Council about how after the fires in Hawaii in 2023, this is so misguided. 1 in 6 survivors, according to them, had to trade sexual favors for basic necessities. As the author of a study, which Noem was referring to, literally told Politico that the Trump administration has misinterpreted the findings. Play the clip.
And then after the wildfires in Maui, residents voiced concerns that every FEMA employee that they spoke with had different answers. None of them had conversations that resulted in getting assistance that was helpful or any clarity in their situations. The situation in Lahaina was so bad that 1 in 6 survivors were forced to trade sexual favors, other favors for just basic supplies.
Not true. This is the problem. Look, am I saying that FEMA is flawless? Absolutely not. But requiring Kristi Noem, who's busy worrying about a painting, as opposed to signing plus $100,000 so that you can get search and rescue teams, so it doesn't just become recovery, that's the problem. And that, my friends, is incompetence. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.